Hello, I'm Bob Pickel, Chair of Prime Finance, and welcome to the first edition of PRIMEtime 2.0, Prime Finance's series of short conversations with people in the world of international finance and law. PRIMEtime 2.0 follows on from the original PRIMEtime, which is a series of hour-long presentations during the pandemic about a range of topics. The original PRIMEtime sessions are available on our website, www.primefinancedisputes.org, and on our YouTube channel. PRIMEtime 2.0 conversations will also be available on those sites. It's only fitting that my guest for this first PRIMEtime 2.0 conversation is Camilla Macpherson, our head of Secretariat from 2019 until this summer. Camilla was the architect of the original PRIMEtime, and it was a major reason for its success. It has been one of the most rewarding opportunities of my career to partner with Camilla in facing the challenges and savoring the successes we experienced over her 5 years with Prime Finance. And I'm looking forward to reflecting with her on those 5 years today. Camilla, welcome to PRIMEtime 2.0.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's my pleasure to be here.
So, successes. Well, we had quite a few, didn't we? What sticks out in your mind?
Wow, well, it's not easy to choose, but it would definitely include leading the revision and promotion of the Prime Finance arbitration rules. I mean, what a milestone in Prime Finance's history. It's a project that began in lockdown. It brought together some of the biggest players in the world of international arbitration and was also a great experience for me in terms of managing a process like that and managing committees. I'm very proud of the end result, not just from a technical point of view, that we made lots of technical changes, but also because the new rules serve as such a brilliant launch pad for global promotion. And I'm really pleased with all the exposure we got with the relaunch of the rules and all the interest from the industry.
Yeah, and you had a very effective working group supporting that. Many of our experts and new experts you brought into the fold through that project, and so we grew the expert base as a result. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So another thing I would highlight is the growth in the conference program. And you already mentioned PRIMEtime. One of the great benefits of that, I think, was taking Prime Finance to an audience that wouldn't necessarily come to The Hague for a conference, different jurisdictions, different levels of expertise. But even the actual in-person event schedule has vastly grown. I mean, I think I joined just a few days before what was Prime Finance's second New York conference. We've since had another one. We were in London for the first time, Singapore for the first time. So as well as our kind of home base of The Hague, I think it's very important for Prime Finance to be visible in the global finance centres, and that's what we've done.
And we'll be back in London on October 7th. So we're looking forward to seeing many people there. And I also know that you'll be there. So I look forward to seeing you again.
I know. I can't wait, Bob. I really can't. So you mentioned the panel of experts. I mean, now numbering 300 or so leaders in finance and dispute resolution, and growing that panel has been a really interesting and important part of my role. I mean, I must be approached 1 to 2 times a week with people wanting to join the panel. The existing experts on the board have other ideas. So actually managing the process of adding new experts to the panel is quite an important and tricky one sometimes. Yeah. I think within that context, I'm really pleased that we brought on people specifically interested in fintech and sustainable finance, the kind of newer growth areas of finance. And also, as you mentioned, we brought on lots of international arbitration experts at the time of the relaunch of the arbitration rules, with thanks for all of their help in that huge process. And behind the scenes, we set up forums for specialist groups, fintech, sustainable finance, I pick out in particular. And those have just been hugely beneficial for the experts and for the organisation from a knowledge sharing perspective. We've done great work with the International Finance Corporation, and this is basically developing financial markets in developing jurisdictions. Particular focus when I was there on Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, and Cambodia. And for me, what's important about that project is it really goes to the heart of Prime Finance's beginnings, foundations in the world of derivatives, educating, training people with an interest in the subject, be they regulators, bankers, judges, legislators, users. So for me, that was a really wonderful project to be a part of, not my area of expertise, but really the one that is fundamental, core to the expertise of many people at Prime Finance.
Yeah,
So I love that.
Yeah, we got myself as well as a number of our derivatives experts involved in those sessions, and we look forward to continuing to work with the ISC as well as potentially other international finance institutions going forward. So a lot going on, a lot accomplished. What did we do to get the word out? What did you do to get the word out?
Wow, so many ways, and such an important part of the role. Also, just something I'm proud of, to have raised the profile as much as I felt I could of Prime Finance, and it's such a pleasure to do it. And we have newsletters, we run our conferences. The arbitration rules gave us a great platform to appear in conferences such as London International Disputes Week and Paris Arbitration Week. So, I've been able to get out and about from time to time. But I will say there's one place where we draw all our successes, all of our news together, and that's in the annual report. I was really happy to have the idea of an annual report. Prime Finance hadn't had one before. Really thrilled, Bob, that you were happy for me to just run with it. It's now got 2 editions sitting on my shelf, and I'm thrilled that it's now going to be a regular part of the programme.
Yeah, we're already working on the 2024 report.
Oh, that's great.
It's something that it works best if you think about it all the way through the year, as opposed to scrambling at the end of the year to try to recall everything that happened.
Yeah, completely agree.
And putting that together, and maybe we'll run it by you in advance just to make sure that the original editor has
Thank you.
So obviously you come across a lot of people in this role, although frankly with the pandemic it's been more like this and not as much in person. Fortunately, we got out of the pandemic and you had some opportunity to get out there and meet our experts and engage with others. But who kind of comes to your mind in terms of people you've worked with closely and really enjoyed the opportunity?
I've really loved working with the board of Prime Finance. It's been a constant pleasure, from the very beginning, the very first meeting I attended to the very last meeting I attended, to work with people of such caliber, experience, and enthusiasm for the mission is really meaningful. There's been 2 Secretary Generals during my time in the role, Professor Kasper Kraminski and Sir David Baragwanath, and they've both been unstinting in their support. So, I really consider myself so fortunate to have worked with such excellent people during this role. I'm particularly grateful for encouragement from Rick Grove, Joe Bauman, of course, Jeff Golden, the founder and chair emeritus of Prime Finance. And Bob, I'm saving the best to last because that's obviously you. You've been a brilliant chair, steering Prime Finance into its 2nd decade through sometimes choppy waters. It's been a privilege for me to work with you, and you're so kind about me as well. I really value it, and I value the relationship. So thank you.
Well, don't say anymore. You're embarrassing me too much. So.
I know, I'll stop now. But I will say that one of the really interesting bits of the role for me, having come from private practice, a different background, has been seeing the inside governance and understanding the board dynamics that go along with this kind of role. I've also worked with interns from across the world. I think we added them up at one point, Bob, and it was, I can't remember, it was over 50 in the life across the lifetime of Prime Finance, but there's been plenty of them from all sorts of jurisdictions.
Right.
And I'm sure that
just in your time we had, if you count the ones who helped out during their school years, we probably had roughly 20 in that 5 years.
Oh yeah, probably more. I mean, yeah, maybe 25 or so. And it's been a great experience. I think hopefully on both sides, I've really enjoyed working with them, that they've enjoyed working with me, I hope. And for sure, the associations we have with the big US law schools to assist with the Summer Intern Programme has been really excellent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When it comes, the highlights for me for the intern programme have been the summer, where we have students from the US law schools come for 8 weeks at a time. And that's been really lovely experience. There's also been my two legal officers, Basma Zaidi and Dini Yap, and I'm completely thrilled that Dini, since my departure, is now Senior Legal Officer and Manager of Prime Finance. And I can't let this opportunity pass without mentioning Senior Advisor Nancy Kovacic in New York, who has just been phenomenal and came on very early in my time at Prime Finance to help support all the work we do. And I've often told her I couldn't have done it without her.
Right. Yeah, no, she's been a great asset for us. So we don't exist in a vacuum. Prime Finance covers ground that others are focused on as well. Give us some examples of how we've collaborated with different organizations over the time you were with us.
Well, I'll definitely start with the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. So the PCA acts as administrator for arbitrations brought under the Prime Finance rules. And while I was working in The Hague, running Prime Finance, I was also a legal counsel at the PCA. What highlight? I mean, they're a great team, hugely knowledgeable about international arbitration. And for me, I came from private practice in London. And, I didn't know much about the world of international law, international legal organizations. And I found myself with an office in the Peace Palace. So no complaints about that. It was really a wonderful thing to be a part of. I mean, there's so many organizations. I'd highlight UNSACHUL as well, because Prime Finance has observer rights for two of the UNSACHUL working groups. And I also got the chance to work with UNSACHUL on a specific fintech project.
Right.
The City of London Corporation is amazing. When we were first in London for our first London conference, that was 2020. When was the first London conference? 2022. Anyway, we got to know them a bit better, and they very kindly hosted the summer intern programs in London these past 2 years, and also gave me desk space. Really great to have an insight into the work they do. And then there's ICA, there's the Hague Conference on Private International Law, there's IDLO. Like, as I said, this was in many ways a new world for me when I started with Prime Finance, and it's been a lot of fun to understand how these organizations work and what they're doing.
Right. So you, at various stages along the way, you challenged us to think about the strategic direction of Prime Finance, and we had a number of discussions, and you prepared a couple of papers along the way. So now that you're no longer in the role of head of Secretariat, but I know you feel very connected with Prime Finance, what are your hopes for Prime Finance in the future?
Wow, I mean, I can't believe it's been just a couple of months since I left. I mean, I still feel like this is my role, and it's really nice to have this opportunity to connect. I mean, I think I'm really excited to see that the work that Prime Finance has been doing in emerging jurisdictions to build understanding of finance markets come to fruition. And having been part of that process, I can see it takes time. There's understanding what's going on the ground, there's education, there's legislation, you need people to adopt new legislation, but ultimately the aim is economic development. And I'm really excited to see where Prime Finance goes with that and what other opportunities open up for it in that world. It's been brilliant to see more interest in the Prime Finance arbitration rules. I mean, that was, a personal ambition of mine as well as an organizational, ambition. I do think the rules have a lot to offer the finance market. And the next step is just to see the development of a flow of cases. And I think as we add more experts, it's been really great to see the panel grow and grow. I'm looking forward to bringing in or seeing Prime Finance bring in a new generation that will be even more engaged and supportive of the mission.
Yeah, that's great. Great. Well, Camilla, it's been great to have this opportunity to catch up, and I know we'll see each other in London, so we'll have more chance one-on-one to sit down and talk about the future. So thank you for joining us today on this first PRIMEtime 2.0, and thank you for everything you've done for Prime Finance. It's made a huge difference in keeping our organization relevant and known throughout the world as experts in the world of international finance and law. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Bob. It's been great to reconnect.